Today we're going to talk about strategy 1, using the order of operations. So the order of operation tells us how to evaluate expressions that contain multiple operations. Without the order of operations, different people could find different values for the same expression. So the order is, first off, we're going to work inside the parentheses or other grouping symbols. We're going to multiply and divide from left to right and add and subtract from left to right. It is important to work from left to right when doing multiplication and division and when doing addition and subtraction. Note that the multiplication does not always come before the division and addition does not always come before subtraction. With that being said, let's look at, this is what our parentheses are going to look like. They are right here. Then we have brackets and braces. These can be used as grouping symbols. If there are grouping symbols inside other grouping symbols, then we're going to start with the innermost set and work outward. With that being said, let's work a few examples. So example 1, it says to evaluate 4 divided by 2 plus 9 times, or parentheses, 5 plus 7. And then we're going, it says this, first off, it says to work inside the parentheses first. So we're going to add the 5 plus 7 is going to give us 12. See how it's written here? And then next off it says to, and then we're going to divide from left to right. So we're going to divide, 4 divided by 2 is going to give us 2. And then 9 times 12 is going to give us 108. So we're going to take that 2 plus 108, and that's going to give us 110. So the value of the expression is 110. Let's go to example 2. Example 2, it says to evaluate, and it has in our brackets, it says 16 plus, parentheses, 8 divided by 4, bracket, minus 3 times 5 plus 2. So first off, it's telling us to work inside the parentheses, and we're going to divide the 8 divided by 4, and that is going to give us 2. And then it says to work inside the bracket, and so we're going to take the 16 and we're going to add the 2, and that's going to give us 18. So here, how it is written. And so then it tells us to, then we're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply the 3 times 5, and that's going to give us 15. And then so we're going to go, then we're going to say 18 minus 15 is going to give us 3. And so we're going to have 3 plus 2 is going to give us. So the value of the expression is 5. Alright, so in our guided practice, it tells us to evaluate. And it's saying we have 36 divided by, in parentheses, 2 plus 1, parentheses, times 4 minus 2. So first off, it's telling us to think. It says, after I work inside the parentheses, I need to do the multiplication and division from left to right. I need to divide before I multiply. So this is what our problem looks like. And so we are going to go ahead and we're going to do inside the parentheses. And so we're going to say 2 plus 1 is going to give us 3. And that's how we got our 3 there. So then we're going to work from left to right. So 36 divided by 3 is going to give us 12. And so then we're going to say 12 times 4 is going to give us 48. And then 48 minus 2 is going to give us 46. So our answer is going to be 46 on our guided practice 1. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to guided practice number 2. It says, what is the value of the expression? So here we have the expression here. And it says, think. I need to work inside the parentheses, then work inside the bracket. So first off, we're going to work inside the parentheses. And so we're going to go ahead and say 6 minus 4, that is going to give us 2. And then we're going to work inside our bracket, and we're going to say 3 times 2 is going to give us 6. So then we're going to divide 6 divided by 2, and that's going to give us 3. And so we're left with 8 plus 3 equals 11, which is B. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at number 3. So number 3, it just says to evaluate. So you know the first thing, of course, we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and multiply 3 times 4. Okay, so we multiply 3 times 4, that is going to give us 12. And so next off, we're going to divide. So we're going to say 6 will divide by 2 3 times. So we're going to say 24 minus 12 plus 3. And so next off we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and subtract. 24 minus 12 is going to give us 12. And we're going to say plus 3. And that is going to equal 15. So we know that number 3 is going to be C. And number 4 says, which expression has a value of 52? So that means we're going to have to work out each expression. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to work on our parentheses. And so we know that 8 minus 4 is going to give us 4. So we're going to say 6 times 4 divided by 2 plus 6. And so we're going to go ahead and go from left to right. So we're going to say 6 times 4 is, so that's going to give us 24. And then we're going to divide that by 2 plus 6. So we're going to go ahead and divide 2 divided by 24, and that's going to be 12. And so we're going to add that plus 6, and then our answer is going to be 18. So that definitely is not the equivalent value of 52. So let's look at B. Okay, so we're going to say 2 divided by 4 is going to give us 2. So then we're going to go ahead and multiply. 6 times 8 is 48. That is 48 minus 2 plus 6. So then we're just going to go ahead and subtract. 48 minus 2 is going to give us 46. We're going to say plus 6, and that's going to give us 52. So right there, B is our next answer. No need to work C and D because we know our answer is B. Let's go ahead and go to number 5. And number 5 says, what is the value of the expression? Okay, so first off, what we're going to do is we're going to do inside the parentheses. So we know that 2 plus 8 is going to give us 10. So let's go ahead and work out our problem. So we're going to say 4 times 5 is going to give us 20. And so we're going to write 20 minus 10 divided by 10. So then we're going to go 10 will divide into 10 one time. So we're going to say 20 minus 1. And we know that is going to equal 19. So our answer is going to be D. Let's go ahead and go to number 6. So number 6 is just to evaluate. So let's evaluate it. Okay, so first off, we're going to do inside the parentheses. So we know 1 times 5 is 5. And then we're going to start working from left to right. So we know that 2 will divide into 24 12 times. So we'll go ahead and write out our problem. So then we're just going to say 12 minus 5 is going to be 7. So we're going to have 7 plus 4. And that's going to give us 11 as our answer. Let's go to number 7. So 7 says, which expression has a value of 19? There again, we're going to have to work all the problems to figure out which one is going to equal the value of 19. So let's get started. Okay, so first off, what we're going to do is we're going to do inside the parentheses. So we know 4 minus 2 is going to give us 2. So let's write out the rest of our problem. So then we're going to say go inside our brackets. So we know that 2 divided by 6 is going to give us 3. So then we're going to multiply. 3 times 3 is going to give us 9. And then we know 10 plus 9 is going to give us 19. Wow, so we got it on the first try. A is number 7. All right, well, let's go ahead and go to number 8. Okay, so let's fill in these blanks. So first off, we're going to do our parentheses first. So we're going to say 4 minus 2 is going to give us 2. And so then we're going to multiply 2 times 8, and that's going to give us 16. And then we're going to say 16 divided by 16 is going to give us 1. And then 1 plus 9 is going to give us 10. So number 8 is C. All right, let's go ahead and go to number 9. Number 9 says to evaluate. So let's go ahead and evaluate it. Okay, so let's fill in these blanks. So let's go ahead and subtract 4 minus 2 is going to give us 2. And then we're going to go ahead and divide. 2 divided by 12 is going to give us 6. And then we're going to say 6 times 6 is going to give us 36. And then we're going to say 9 plus 36 is going to give us 45, which is C. All right, so it says test tips. It says remember that multiplication and division are performed left to right, then addition and subtraction are performed from left to right. So let's go ahead and look at number 10. It says, what is the value of the expression? Okay, so let's look inside these parentheses. We're going to say 24 minus 8, that is going to give us 16. And then we're going to say 16 times 6, and that is going to give us 96. And then we're going to say 3 divided by 18, and that's going to give us 6. And then 96 plus 6 is going to give us 102, which is B. Let's go ahead and go to number 11. Okay, so let's look at number 11. So in number 11 it says, which expressions have a value of 30? And then it says, select all that apply. So what this is saying, basically, you're going to have to work out each and every problem to make sure to see which ones are the value of 30. So let's go ahead and start with A. So A, first off, we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look in that bracket, and that bracket is a parentheses, and then the parentheses is 5 minus 1, and we know that is going to be 4. So our next step is going to be is we're going to say, look at the bracket again, and then we're going to say 4 divided by 40 is going to give us 10, and then we're going to multiply that times 2. So we're going to say 10 times 2 using our order of operations. And so this is going to be 24 plus 20, and that is going to equal 44. So we know A is definitely not 1. So let's go ahead and do B. Okay, so let's look at B. So we know all we have is a parenthesis, so we're going to say 5 minus 1 is going to be 4. And then next off we are going to divide. 4 divided by 40 is going to give us 10. And then we're going to say 10 times 2 is going to give us 20. So when we say 24 plus 20, it's going to give us 44. And so we know that B is definitely not a problem. Let's look at C. Okay, on C, we do not have an order in operations of parentheses, so we'll go to our next step. So next step we're going to do is we're going to go from left to right, and so from left to right we're going to divide. 5 divided by 40 will be 8. So then we're going to do our next order of operation, and that is going to be, let's see, 24 plus 8, and then so we can say 2 times 1 is going to equal 2. So then we're going to continue with our order of operations and go from left to right, and so we're going to add 24 plus 8 is going to give us 32. Oh, not 34, 32. Excuse me. So we're going to say 32 minus 2, and that is going to give us 30 as our answer. So C is definitely one of our answers. So let's go ahead and work D out. Okay, so first off, we're going to work with our order of operations. We're going to say we have parentheses, so we're going to say 2 times 1 is 2. And then we're going to go work from left to right, and then we notice that we have 5 divided by 40, and that is 8. So we're going to start over with our order of operations, and we're going to say 8 plus 20. Okay, so let's say 24 plus 8 is going to give us 32, and then we're going to subtract that minus 2, and that's going to give us 30. So now we know that C and D are our correct answers. So let's go ahead and work out E. Okay, with E, we have, let's go ahead and work in our brackets. We have parentheses. So we'll go ahead and say 1 times 2 is 2. And then we'll go ahead and go 24 plus 40, and that's going to be divided by 5 minus 2 is 3. Well, we know that 3 is not going to divide into 40, so we know definitely our answer cannot be E. Let's go ahead and work number 12. So our problem answers for 11 are C and D, so let's go ahead and do number 12. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our order of operations and work in our parentheses. So we'll do our parentheses first, and 4 plus 2 is going to equal 6. Then our next step we're going to do is we're going to look down, and so we're going to go ahead and we're going to multiply 8 times 9, and that is going to be 72. And then we're going to put our subtraction and go ahead and write down. So our next step is going to be divide 6 divided by 12, and that is going to be, that'll go 2 times, so we're going to write our 72 minus 2, and so our answer is going to be D, which is 70. Let's go ahead and do number 13. So number 13, it just says what is the value of this expression? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our order of operations. We're going to look inside our brackets. We have parentheses. So we're going to say 2 times 4 is going to give us 8. And so we're just going to go ahead and do inside our brackets. And so we have 18 minus 8 is going to be 8. So we can just go ahead and write 20 divided by 2 plus 8. So our next step is going to be we're going to divide 2 divided by 20, and that's going to give us 10. And so we're just going to add that plus our 8, and our answer is going to be 18. So it says to write it in our blank over here, so we'll write a 1 and an 8, and we'll fill in the 1 and the 8. So number 14, it says to evaluate. Let's go ahead and work it out. Okay, so we'll go ahead and work in our parentheses. So 32 plus 16 is going to give us 48. And then continue working our order of operations. We're going to say 4 divided by 18 is going to be 12. Plus 7 times 2. So we're going to say 7 times 2 is going to give us 14. So we're going to say 12 plus 14. And that's going to give us 26. So number 14 is A. Let's go ahead and look at number 15. Number 15 reads, Maria wrote the following expression. And then it says, which of the values of this expression? So let's go ahead and work this problem out. So as we work this problem out, we're going to use inside the parentheses. So we know 3 times 1 is 3. Then we're going to go back and work from left to right. So we're going to divide 12 divided by 60. And that's going to go 5 times. So we're going to say 5 minus 2 plus 3. Work our order of operations. So we know that 3 minus 2 is going to be 3. And that's going to leave us 3 plus 3. And that is going to equal 6. So number 15 is A. Alright, so number 16, it says, which expression has a value of 23? So of course there we're going to have to work our problems out to see which one has the value of 23. So let's go ahead and get started with A. So as we're working our order of operations, we're going to say 15 plus 9 is going to be 24. And so we're going to say 24, going from left to right, 24 times 4 is going to give us 96. Minus 12 divided by 3. So next step is going to be 3. We'll divide into 12. We know that'll go 4 times. So then we're going to have 96 minus 4, and that's going to give us 92, which is not 23. So we know it is not A. So let's go ahead and look at B. Okay, so we're going to look inside our brackets. We actually have parentheses. So we know that 9 times 4 is going to be 36. So we're going to say 36 minus 12 is going to give us 24. So we're going to have 15 plus 24 divided by 3. And then 3 divided by 24 is going to be 8. So all we got left is 5 plus 8 is going to be 23. So B is our answers. We don't have to work anymore. It's B. So now I'm working all these problems out for you, but I'd really like for you to try these on your own. You can pause the video and work them out and then see how I work them out. You may work them out a little bit different than me. And if you do, please just feel free to, send me an email real quick and say, hey, I worked this problem out like this, and let me know how you worked it out. Or, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. You can always please go to Google Classroom and put in the code 2MK 74E3 because this strategy 1 of using operations is going to be there for you to complete. There again, we'll have some practices in TABE Academy which are assigned to you. Remember your first name 1, a password is happy1, and iExcel, I've assigned assignments for you also, and these go step by step by step. You can use your first name 1 at Job Corps, and password is joyful1. Hope you have a great day. Hope to see you soon.